Sure, it's a double dunder of a show tonight. Two fantastic guests. Marty's sitting there with your Samuel Gelston already on display.
Yes, we reviewed this the other week, and I like this. It's very pleasant and easy to drink, and it's also cheap, which always helps. In COVID times, having something that you don't have to do a lottery for, get raffle tickets for, take out a mortgage for. You can just and you can even buy it online. Even Amazon supply Northern Ireland. What amazing! So yes, so good on you. Well done, guys. That's a good one.
Good. So let's see. Lots of people getting in touch already. First off, tonight, Mark Kerr said, "Evening all. Evening to you, Mark. Good evening to you. Happy Easter. Happy Easter. If you're looking forward to some chocolate eggs, I certainly am. I've eaten mine already, so I need to buy some more probably. Let me see who's saying hello as well. Patrick Mulkey said hello. Julie Mason saying hello. Vic's in tonight already. Good evening, Vic. Happy Easter to you. Yep. And James and Moira Doherty are saying hello as well. Oh yes, and another whiskey's joining us tonight as well. We've got Tony McKeown, Ethan Marty, and Justin from Matt Darcy Irish Whiskey. Yeah. Good evening to you.
Good evening, guys. Good evening.
Yeah. Seamus Tobin saying hello. Trevor Watson saying hello. Remember to comment, like, and share at this point because it helps people help us see the show and everybody else can see it. Linda Cox is saying hello. Connor Ryan saying hello. Michael Matthews is saying chocolate truffle stout from Porterhouse to kick off the evening. Yes, he's having his egg in liquid form.
Yes, well, that's it. I probably have duck eggs because I don't have any chocolate eggs. Nobody got me one. I'll maybe go and get a cream egg and then I'll have a duck egg scrambled eggs tomorrow. But no, great to have you all guys here. I have this set up here tonight just because I was talking. Remember, I was talking the other day on the podcast, Justin. And I said about auction and all that kind of stuff. I just thought I would show people what I meant by the Teeling revival stuff. Now, look at this, okay? In terms of presentation, I think you go hard pushed to beat that. Now, we're going to be talking later on to Carl McDermott from the Whiskey Companion. And he's going to talk about auction prices. And for €100, that's basically what this is going for. We'll get Carl to tell us.
Should we talk to him now for a minute? Should we scare him and talk to him now? No.
I don't know. If you want to bring him on, bring him on.
I'll bring him on. Here he is. 3, 2, 1. You're in the room. You're back in the room, Carl. It's Captain McDermott himself, sir.
How's it going, lads?
How are we, buddy? We're going to do the news, and then we've done a little interview during the week, so we're going to play that, and then we'll get a better chat. But I'm just trying to explain to people that this auction prices, this is still very, very reasonable, very, very cheap, and the presentation of it's just fabulous. Nice big heavy bottle, etc., etc. It looks absolutely fabulous.
It does, and they knocked it out of the park and followed up. Just as well with the revival series or the Renaissance series.
Yeah, that's why when I was saying about doing a top 10 whiskey brands for someone starting a whiskey collection or starting a whiskey bar, that's a really good one to have because it looks fabulous. It hangs off the shelf,
Oh, definitely. People think that you spent more money than you really did.
It does. Now,
We'll talk to you later on, Captain McDermott. We'll talk to you later on. All right. Speak to you later. So there you go. There's Mark Diamond saying I'm looking rightly tonight. I'm on the ginger beer. And Johan Strand, evening.
Johan.
The revival. Yes.
The revival. It does, but I mean, it does. It looks fabulous, and it looks an awful lot more expensive than some of the stuff that is cost an awful lot more. I think the branding of it's fabulous.
Okay, so a bit of an international flavour to the show tonight, isn't it?
Well, international. We cover sporting topics. Some stuff's a bit of a joke, but anyway.
Yes, we're going to get Zuckerberg, even though it's factual.
You'll get Zuckerberg. I don't. Me and Mark Zuckerberg go on, all right? It's you he's in for.
All right. Right. Well, looking forward to getting this. If you're a fan of Gwyneth Paltrow, stick around.
She puts in an appearance here tonight.
You mightn't be a fan after this, but
no. Now, whiskey news. The week in whiskey. Good news for Canadians. I know Geordie Burke's normally here, but he's not here at the minute, I don't think. But the UK and the European Union have agreed a free trade agreement with Canada. So the Comprehensive Economic and Trade Agreement with the EU and the Canada-United Kingdom Trade Continuity Agreement has seen the elimination of tariffs on 98% of products exported from Canada to the UK and the EU. But more importantly, the Liquor Control Board of Ontario is going to reduce the levies on EU and UK spirits by 42%. And Quebec is to reduce its levies by 16.4% from the 23rd of May. Now, William Lavelle of the Irish Whisky Association has said that since CETA has come into its professional force, sales of Irish whisky in Canada have increased by 44%. Yay!
Wow, that's a massive jump, Marty.
It's a massive jump. It's huge. And long may it continue. But now we're going to go to Russia, where the Irish Whisky Association have revealed this week that Russia is now the second highest purchasers of Irish whisky after the US. So Irish Whisky Association have released data that shows that the sales have rocketed up to 7.3 million bottles for the last recorded year's 2019. So that's a jump of 231% from 2010.
Now, I thought Russia were just into their vodkas and stuff like that.
Well, it seems that it's changing. They're developing an idea of Irish whiskey. Now, they've actually got John Teeling, who owns for anyone who doesn't know, owns the Great Northern Distillery, who don't really bring out anything themselves. What they do is they sell it to other bottlers, or not bottlers, other brands as such, and they're selling to Russian distributors who are basically labeling their own Russian Irish whiskies. So it's fabulous. Now Jameson, obviously, it's the big dog. You have to really talk about Jameson. They jumped by 7% in a year, and so Russian distributors are actually bringing out Irish vodkas, if you like. You know, it's made in Ireland, but they're labeling it themselves, which is great. Absolutely fantastic.
Very good indeed. And yes, no KGB agents have been hurt in the making of this news story.
Put it like this: if Vladimir Putin offers you a whiskey, drink it. If he offers you tea, not so much. We'll not worry about Zuckerberg. We'll maybe worry about the FSB coming in.
Yes, maybe so. What's next in the news this week in whiskey, of course, is our version of the news. It is the news, but it's to be taken with a pinch of Irish Salt Mine and Exploration Company.
Yes, if you're listening, Vladimir Putin, it's a joke. please don't murder us in our bed, okay? Right. Now, it was April Fool's this week. Now, normally I hate April Fool's. I just, everything you read in the news, normally you take with a pinch of salt, and then April Fool's Day, it just gets a bit naff. But there was a couple of things happened this week. This one was World Whisky Day. The people behind World Whisky Day spoofed that they were releasing a limited edition reed diffuser, okay, inspired by the distinct aroma of the Dunwich warehouse. Now, the spoof quote was attributed to a man called Hank Daltman of Daltman Hotels, and he said, "Our guests love Scotland and Scotch. I'm actually 1/15th Scottish myself, so when I smell the Dunwich, I feel at home. It takes me back to the land of my forefathers, the rugged hills, the dense forest, and the crystal clear waters of Govan Hill in Glasgow.
we know where Govan Hill is. By the way, it's not possible to be 1/15 of anything. It's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 22, and so forth. But anyway.
So now see, this is why I sort of hate April Fool's Day, because you see this sort of stuff and you're never really sure whether it's correct or not. And the reason was, well, the Gwyneth Paltrow stuff that came out, her candles, whenever she brought it, I thought it was April Fool's, but it turned out it wasn't. And anyone who doesn't know, Justin, we have a graphic.
Can I show it?
Mm-hmm. I think you need to put that in full screen.
I'll put it in full screen. Okay. This is not a joke, by the way. This is for real. This really exists.
Yes. There's not really a big lot you can say about it, to be fair.
No, there's not.
No.
And just in case you think we're joking about it being a joke, not real, it is real, because there's the graphic that sort of proves it.
Fair enough. Now, the joke at the Dunnage continued when they put down, this should be a 360-degree experience. By sitting in a shed, you wear a blindfold, submerge your feet in loose stones, and play a playlist from Spotify. And then they put down that the recommended retail price was £182.40. So it was dead easy to figure out that it was actually an April Fool's joke. But these days you can never be 100% sure, to be honest.
No, you cannot.
Now, last week we had Deirdre O'Carroll, and I had a few people comment to me, sent me messages after the show. Some guys and a girl sent me a comment saying, "Oh, it was brilliant. It was very good," and she was very, very, very good looking girl, and she is. And then I said, "Oh, but Billy Layton's a very handsome man." And then it was announced this week that there was a Jameson cosmetic range going to be coming out, and I thought that explains it. That explains why all the staff of Irish Distillers are so good looking. But it turned out it turned out it wasn't true. But the publicity for it was quite good. They brought out the Jameson Beta range.
Yes, there it is there.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
There was a model who I do apologise. I've never heard of this lady before. Ayara Tabethi. I don't know whether that's how you pronounce it or not. And it was
I think I had heard of her before, yes.
It's not something I would pay an awful lot of attention to be fair. But
okay.
Her YouTube or her Instagram page, she put this up.
Okay, let's take a look at this.
A Jameson skincare range? Nah, fam. We'll stick to what we do best. And that's make a great tasting whiskey. That doesn't mean that we can't have a great sense of humor, though. Welcome to the Jameson Month of Comedy.
Calm down before you stress up the groove. The energy a little different when the blessings accrue.
Now, what do you think of that, Mark?
Well, it's a month of comedy, so I'm not 100% sure what it's going to be. I haven't really checked it all out, but
well, at least they didn't do a Volkswagen and get in trouble for doing an April Fool's joke in America.
Yeah, you have to be very careful what you do with these things in case someone takes them seriously.
Yeah,
because it has happened before where people have taken these and took it literally.
Yeah. They have indeed. Now, some of the comments coming in are great. There's somebody not believing us about the wah. Yeah. Sean McClanahan doesn't fancy a bit of Gwyneth Paltrow. I certainly do. Seamus Tobin smells like Teen Spirit. Michael Matthews say, does it come in a box? It probably does.
Oh, God.
Sorry, lads. Carl Frampton on also. Catch you on YouTube tomorrow.
Good luck with the wee jackal. Go on, the wee man.
All right. There you go. Where is he? Dubai? We're really in Dubai. This is really a fake backdrop green screen behind us, and we're in Dubai, aren't we, Marty?
Oh yes,
No.
yes. Aye.
No,
With the booze sitting here. Aye.
no, we're not.
No.
All right.
Although the weather down here was nice enough, you could have been in Dubai today.
Yeah, well, listen, if you do miss it, don't feel you have to tune in every night. If you do miss it,
No, of course
YouTube,
not.
LinkedIn Live, Instagram, Facebook, watch it again. I even put them out on Twitch when I can when I feel like doing it. Let's see. Mark Kirsten, he thought Duckle Vision was an April the first joke.
People don't believe me that I go down and feed my ducks every day. This is part of my daily routine.
He actually does. I'll tell you who didn't think it. Sir Morris didn't really actually believe that you were down feeding the dogs.
I know.
And you were. I know. Seamus Chobas, yada yada yada. Mark Curtis loved the humor. Yes, it's a lot better than BBC Two. It's actually funny. Stanley Sung says, "Good evening, all. Good evening.
Good evening, our Stanley. Top man you are."
There you go. Rather listen to you guys than watch Carl Frampton get beat. Thomas, do you know something we don't know?
Thomas, are you trying to say we should maybe have had a bet on the other guy?
Is he going to throw the fight? Is he? All right. I must ring an Arab Sheikado and ask him. Now, let me see. Where are we tonight? We've got a lot to get through tonight. It's 1:15 already.
We're going on to Chasing Whiskey, the untold story of Jack Daniels. Now, on the 9th of April, for $9.99, so I'm not sure what it is in the UK. Hasn't brought that up yet. Or $4.99 if you want to rent it. It's $9.99 if you want to buy it. $4.99 if you want to buy it. It's the story of Jack Daniels essentially, but I think it covers an awful lot more than that. It says on it that they flew 57,000 miles, went to 5 countries, 16 time zones, and the director Greg Oliver said, with unprecedented access that was given to us by Jack Daniels, we uncovered surprising stories that began even before Jack started making his own whiskey. The story of Jack has been 150 plus years in the making. So you can check it out at chasingwhiskey.com, and we're going to play the trailer for it.
You say Tennessee, they'll say 3 people. Elvis, Dolly, and Jack.
People from all over the world, they know about Lynchburg and Jack Daniels.
You look at everybody in Lynchburg and how hard-working they are.
My brother works at Jack Daniels, my daughter, my husband.
Can Matthew McConaughey talk you into drinking Wild Turkey?
I doubt it. The brand got pulled pervasively into popular culture.
It's the only whiskey that anybody knows anything about anyway, that's recognizable.
Sinatra, Keith Richards.
He never paid for any of that.
They always had a bottle of Jack as part of the uniform in a way.
This is the epitome of America in a glass.
That's a pirate flag. That's the way I look at that label. You can't be a pirate and, go to heaven.
Consider the population of this town, the ripples it makes throughout the world. I mean, it's unfeasible.
The hands that are crafting it are the same wherever you find it, in Nashville or Australia. Every bottle is leaving Lynchburg.
Whatever it is that has made it the world's most popular whiskey. That must be an interesting story.
There we go. What do you think of that?
That looks pretty good. That looks pretty good.
That was a good promo compared to the other promo we've seen the other week. Remember the weird one we've seen?
Yeah. Now, that looks pretty cool to me. And I know a lot of people, whiskey guys, are a bit, Jack Daniels at Century, but it's a good product, well enough made. And Jack Daniels and Coke's hard to beat in some regards. That's about as good a cocktail as you can get, Justin.
All right. I'm not a fan of it. Not a fan of Jack Daniels. I can drink it all right,
but it's very sweet.
It's not my favorite. I know somebody really liked it. Not your Julie, another Julie, but she really liked it. There you go.
Yeah. No,
is that about it for the news this week? There was one more story.
There's one more little story, and that's about myself. This is a little bit serious, just for a quick couple of minutes. We do all this whiskey training, we do all this whiskey stuff, we talk all about it, and we joke about it, and so on and so forth. But I am 100% aware that there's people out there that this isn't as much fun for as some people, and some people, especially over the lockdowns and stuff, have found themselves drinking an awful lot more than necessarily should be. So the last couple of weeks, I did the drug and alcohol responder training. So I'm just putting this out there. Say, we try and keep it lighthearted, but just a little caveat of being serious. If anybody is having any issues where they think they're drinking a little bit too much, or they're overdoing it and whatnot, I'm very easy to find. I'm not hiding away. My phone number and stuff still lurking about. My email address, Messenger, and if you are, I've done the training. I'm now certified that if anybody has any issues and they want to just have a quiet word, feel free. I'm never that hard to find. Okay.
There you go. Marty's certified one way. I'm certified the other.
Yeah, you're certifiable. So anyway, that is this week's news.
There you go. That's the news for this week.
Oh, I just noticed there, Robert, our Swedish compatriot, is saying, as news goes, Tipperary have released their own spirit. They have indeed. We shared that during the week, and Hinch have a new release, the craft beer cask finishes, and we shared that on the page as well. So we do try and cover all that, but it's hard to just fit in all that. But we try and all the new stuff we get on during the week. So remember to log in and have a look at the Facebook page. Okay.
There you go. Right. Well done you as well, Marty. Well done you as well. I don't know where you find the energy to study and do all those tours as well, because by the time I go for a walk and have my lunch, have my breakfast, have my afternoon tea, have my early evening snack, the day's over.
That's because you don't get out of your bed every 12 o'clock, you lose yourself.
Yeah.
That's why you never went. That's why you never went. Got the job in GMTV. Never Piers left.
I don't even know who Piers Morgan is. I've never seen him. I only used to see John Stapleton if I stayed up late. I've no idea who he is. No, I really don't.
Now, we had a run-in this week with a man called Ross Morrison, didn't we, Justin?
We did. We did.
It was really, really interesting chat we had. Now, as an aside, he's the chairman of Inverness Caledonian Thistle. Now, anybody who doesn't know what that is, it's a soccer team in the Scottish Championship who yesterday had a 3-1 win over Ross County, and they're currently sitting 5th in the Scottish Championship. The one thing, I was reminded of this today. I was talking to a friend of mine, and I said, we're doing this thing with the guy who's the chair of Inverness Cali Thistle. And he says, remember the headline? And it just, whenever he mentioned that, it just dawned on me. Inverness Caledonian Thistle are responsible for the best headline ever in football, in Scottish football, anyway. And it was back in 2008. Inverness beat Celtic. And Paul Hickson, who's a sub-editor of The Sun at the time, came up with the headline, Super Cali go ballistic, Celtic are atrocious.
I even remember that one myself. Yeah,
That's about it. That's an absolute cracker. Absolutely brilliant.
Now, we're going to talk to them about these things. Now, this has to be seen, to be explained, to be understood. So I think all we can do is play the video and hope for the best, because it is he explains it all basically, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Here we go. I can see angels, Marty. I can see angels.
You've been drinking the Halfins before, didn't you, Justin? You've been on the Halfins. I'm on the tea, you see. So this is a respectable time of the day.
Okay.
Water. See, this man's an athlete.
We've got Ross Morrison. He's the man, the myth, the legend behind the Scotch bonnet.
Yeah.
I thought a Scotch bonnet was sort of like a lady's headdress.
I thought it was a pepper that made your rear end burn after you ate them. But maybe the whole lot. Ross, how are we?
Not bad, yourselves.
I can't complain. You've come up with something, Ross, that potentially saves vast amounts of money, is ecologically friendly, and more importantly, stops the wasting of whiskey. Would you care to elaborate on this? Ladies and gentlemen.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, about I don't know how many years ago, in the mists of time, our main business is building whiskey bonds, new maturation units. Whether we're taking old buildings and renovating them into big whiskey bonds, or whether we're building new for various distillers, and we constantly listen to the various people that were kind of moaning about the fact of the angel share. Remember, we build things. We know nothing about whiskey.
Yeah.
Cut a long story short, I've got a pal of mine called Ken Hooker, Cardboard Ken, who, what he doesn't know about cardboard and packaging, you could write with a very thick pen on the back of a second class stamp. Okay. So we sat down and plied a couple of people with large, copious amounts of alcohol, got information out of them, and the two of us sat down and we come up with an idea that palletized, it seems that palletized casks dry out at the top and then therefore become porous and therefore leak. So our idea was to try and stop that. We were working with a large distiller at the time in Scotland. I chapped on the door of the maturation director, who was in charge of all their maturations, large amount of stores, and asked him for half an hour of his time. We were given half an hour of his time. We took a prototype in, and he went, "You know what, boys? That's a brilliant idea. I love it. But you'll need to change bits here, bits there." I says, "If we change the bits here and bits there and come up with some of them, will you test them for us?" And he went, "Aye, I'll do that." Now, this lad had 30 odd years in the business. So his immediate reaction was, yes, it's a good idea. So we thought, well, we'll go with it. So we went with it. The long and the short of it was, he'd left halfway through the test, but the long and the short of it is that after 42 months, we got our readings from the weights, and it worked. It saved nothing in the first year, nothing after 18 months, started in the second year, and then went like that. I think as the bonneted casks against the control casks, the bonneted cask just remained slightly wetter, and as the control cask went down, ours remained slightly fuller, and it just exponentially it just took off, and it worked.
Right.
So when you say small bits, I mean, you have to remember it's only about 2.5% per annum that they lost, but that 2.5% across an entire industry is a huge amount. I mean, any margin saved at all is absolutely enormous.
Absolutely, but from boys that knew absolutely nothing about alcohol and how it comes in and out of barrels and water, and it was one of those things that you think if you'd been on your own, you'd have never done it because you don't have an idea to bounce off somebody. But if you have an idea to bounce off and somebody says, that might work. And one of the great things is, since that's been like that, the majority of people that we put it to, people in the industry go, you know what, that's a great idea. That could work. And it's because if you turn around an idea and say, not a chance, boys, that's never going to work. You think, well, you're onto the wrong thing. But not one person has said, nah, it's never going to work.
Was it so obvious and so simple a fix that nobody had ever tried it before? Is that what basically happened, Ross? Because I always say, surely everything in whiskey's been tried now, but
I think so.
Well,
basically because what it's made of, because what we've had, if it's know your main business, you don't rely on this, and it's not our main business. So we've taken it and slowly developed it. And first of all, we use cardboard, but cardboard's no use because The problem with cardboard is it gets wet, and if it gets wet, because it ggets wet in these maturation bonds, it gets damp. It just rips. So we had to make it, because cardboard Ken knows everything. We made it out of fiberboard, and fiberboard is tremendously strong.
Yeah.
One of the great things was after 42 months, we retrieved the bonnets, because we only got 42 months because the distiller wanted to use the spirit, and he used the spirit. So there was nothing wrong with the spirit. There was no differential between the spirit in the control barrels and our barrels. And I got to save the bonnets. And now, if you think of it, that was 6 high. So you can imagine the pressure that was on that. They came off. You could take them off, and you could have used them again immediately. There was nothing wrong with them because they're made of fiberboard. No taste, nothing.
It's a very simple, easy idea. Now, you say you work on bonded units. What would be a typical bonded unit for you in terms of casks, storage casks? How many casks would fit in one of your typical bonded units?
Well, the biggest one standalone one we made was about 110,000 square feet. So there'd be 6-7 high. So you're looking at between 100 and 120,000 barrels in there.
Now, I'm going to do some calculations. Right now, we'll do, and I'm on the maths because I'm not Rachel Riley, as you can see.
I can see that. Huh?
You can see that, right? So 120,000 barrels. We'll say they're 200-litre barrels. Let's say we're standard bourbon barrels, right? Now, divide that by 100 gives you 1%. Okay, that's 1%. And on average, we're losing 2.5%. But for easy counting, we'll go with 2%. So multiply that by 2, and you're losing 480,000 litres in year 1. Okay? In year 1, that's what's disappeared. So 500,000 litres of whiskey disappears.
Yeah.
How much of that can you save?
Well, if the world was a perfect round place, you would have said, and an arithmetical calculation over the 42 months was spread out beautifully, you'd have said half of it, or just slightly less. But the problem with the bonnet is it didn't save anything in the first.
Sorry, year 1. I'll take it as an average. Sorry.
So on average, we looked at on average against the control barrels, we saved just under 50% on the 42 months.
So there's not only is there economic, but there's also environmental advantages to that, Ross, as well.
And one other thing that we found is that when I got the bonnets back, they were damp because they were covered. They were full of, they were impregnated, I think, with spirit. Now, I would have thought then that if you'd taken those bonnets and put them back on a new cask again, they didn't have to. They were wet already, so they would have acted quicker or more quickly than the ones we put on originally. So they would work. I mean, they can work again. I think they'll probably do. I think they'll do three casks until you need new ones. Sorry.
So over a 4-year period, roughly, very roughly, you're going to save about 2 million litres out of that bonded warehouse that you're talking about.
Yeah, well, we just got it down to what we were saving. On our average saving was just over 5 kilos of the spirit of the produce that was in those barrels, which was cask strength malt whiskey.
I mean, you multiply that across, 100,000 barrels. That's a huge saving. Huge saving.
Well, one of the things that we think that because it doesn't work immediately, whether which ones in Scotland, which ones would you put it on? Because if it's not going to work really in 3 years, and your spirit's going to be a blended spirit, and it's not going to be that much of a, would you put it on them? I'm not sure. But that's why we got it over. We got it over to Cavalan, over a boy called Ian Chang. And I mean, that poor man was hounded by me every dinner. It was Ian. And what we did was Cardboard Ken made a mini bonnet, which was about that size, in its own little attaché case, because he likes making things out of cardboard. And I got Ian, I sat him down, had a dram with him, and he went, "That's a great idea, I love it." I said, I would like you to test them for us. I'll send them over to you at Cavalan. So he did, and we got them over last May, June. He put them on. I spoke to him in 2020, in June 2020, says, how did it go? And he says, well, they worked. They were great. So, well, can I get my numbers? He went, no, I left Cavalan in March 2020, and therefore I can't get the numbers for you. So that wasn't wonderful. But what I did do, because I thought Ian's opinion was very worthwhile having. I think he's very, in the industry itself, he's highly regarded. So he allowed me to attribute a statement to his name with the fact that he said it was, I think he said it was something like it was glaringly simple, but in his experience of using it, it works. And it was his words, he says, no spirit structure was changed. So it worked with him. And Cavalan was the one I wanted because Cavalan was, £150 a bottle. He's highly regarded, and it would work quicker because of the heat and the temperature that they've got. Yeah. So, he's starting a new distillery and helped him start a new distillery in Japan. So therefore, he said when he gets them going to that stage, he wants to use them. So that was massive. That was massive.
Obviously, Japanese love anything made of origami, so it's bound to go down. It's bound to go down well. Show us that there. It looks like a big boron. It looks like a big boron. It's fantastic looking. It's fantastic looking.
It's got a sort of a myriad of it's got cardboard within it, which is inside the disc, so which allows a sort of labyrinth for the spirit to go through as well.
Yeah,
labyrinth. That's a good word, isn't it? There you go.
What kind of money's in one of them? What kind of money's in one of them? Obviously, it's a volume item. 12 quid.
12 quid.
Yeah.
I mean, this could potentially the margins in savings. I mean, I keep trying to explain to people when you're setting up a distillery, the business, Justin particularly, when you're setting up a distillery, there's years before you make any money. I mean, as a business model, it's just absolutely crazy. But people seem to still want to do it.
Yeah.
And the margins of saving that amount of money it is incredible. I mean, it is potentially a total game changer for a lot of businesses.
Well, we're getting the stuff over. We've got consignments going over to Mexico because the tequila industry could be massive. The big problem with tequila industry, they've got to actually turn them around because they seem to rack or dunnage all their stuff just now.
Yeah.
So they've got to palletize because it doesn't work unless you palletize. But then, if you could save an absolute bucket load, because they must be losing a fortune.
Oh, a massive amount.
So what is the difference for them? It's probably just tradition, I would have thought. So if we can get one or two of them saying, yeah, okay, we'll give it a go, stick 6 barrels on. Mm-hmm. I'll send them over. If they pay for the postage, I'll send them for nothing. Stick them on for a year.
There you go, Jose Cuervo. There's an offer.
There you go. Absolutely. I'll send them over, and if they don't work, what have they lost? But if they work for Scotch, they should work for that. We've got them in the Caribbean. We should be getting some results about 3 or 4 months from the Caribbean. I've got to send some over to South Africa, and we're looking at getting some over to Ireland, Finland, Sweden. What else was there?
India.
Fiji, for instance. Fiji.
If you get into India, because Amrit, the sort of the well-regarded Indian distillery, I mean, they have the Greedy Angels. I mean, the oldest Indian whiskey is like 12 years old because the heat and humidity is so much that it just flies out. So like 12 years, and they have to bottle it because another year and it'll be gone.
I think it was in Goa they lose something like 16%.
It's just incredible.
Just like that. Yeah. So but what I'm trying to do is try to get a manufacturer in India just now, because I'm kind of guessing further ahead and saying, right, it does work. So what I'd like to do with India is get into India and say, right, lads, there's a few bonnets for you, but when you want them, we're ready to go here, because you cannot export them. They're too big.
Yeah.
They're too heavy.
No, it'll cost you as much.
Too costly.
It'll cost you as much.
Absolutely.
Maybe more.
It does far more.
Well, you'll definitely get into India this week because 15% of our podcast audience is in India. Ross.
Is that right?
Yes.
Yes. I mean, the whole thing, I mean, is potentially a game changer. I mean, if you go to the likes of Irish Distillers, right, the big Irish one, I mean, they lost 40,000 bottles a day at the Angels shift. 40,000 bottles a day. You know,
You
it's
see,
incredible.
on the basis of that, you wonder why somebody doesn't say, well, you know what, let's give it a go.
Yeah.
We've
In
had
fact,
boys coming up. I've had boys coming up. It's just a bit of cardboard. It's not just a bit of cardboard.
No.
If it was just a bit of cardboard, why didn't you think of it if it's just a bit of bloody cardboard? It is what it is what it is, and we've not. You see, the other thing is that you cannot. I cannot go and tell a distiller it's going to work for you because it might not. All I can say is, at the present moment, it seems to work. And it's worked for everybody that we've given it to, and everybody that's come across their desk going, "That's a good idea. Let's have a go at it," or "We didn't want to use it," and or we rack, and if we rack, it doesn't work.
Yeah, but another big name in Scotch whisky has given you an endorsement as well. Charles McLean.
Charlie. Well, that was another. I got Charlie. I actually caught Charlie. We were going away on a flight, and I caught Charlie at the security desk, and I sat down after the third or fourth time I'd met him, because every time we'd met him, we were both pished at dinner. So I gave him this picture of a barrel with a bonnet on it and something like 13 bottles of whiskey, and he went. I looked. I says, "Charlie, can you look at this bonnet thing again for me?" "Oh yeah, I'll do that." Yeah. I says, he went, "That's marvelous. Yes. That's a lovely colour of that whiskey." It's not the bloody whiskey I'm talking about, it's the bonnet. And I went through it all over again and went, bloody hell, that's a brilliant idea. So I was up at his house. Was it last? In fact, I'll tell you what, it was the 18th of February, because his bit of papers on here, it says, "This is a remarkable breakthrough in the war against the Angels. Charles McLean, 18th of February, 2020.
Brilliant.
And then we decided to try some more whiskey that he was tasting, which is he's a nice, what a man he is. He's great fun. Great fun.
Now, I can see from behind you that you're a fan of Inverness Caledonian Thistle. A little bit more than just a fan. Now,
you would be, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Does that explain why you drink?
Explains why I don't sleep very much, and I'm actually only 27. Look at the grey hair.
I'm only 25.
No.
That's because you drink too much through the day, son. That's your problem.
That's a solar panel. Yeah, just for anybody who doesn't know, Ross is actually the chairman of Inverness Caledonian Thistle.
I am.
God love him.
God love me. It's been didn't start me. It's I spend an awful lot of time on Inverness Cali Thistle, but it is a labour of love. I still have my tattoo there of my team. I did it after our great victory, and as you can see on there, it's the winning. That was the player that put the goal in the back of the net to win to beat Falkirk 2-1 in the 2015 Scottish Cup. So yes, I'm the chairman. An honour, absolute honour. If you can't play for your team, be the chairman of your team.
Aye. You get the blame for everything first, and then it all trickles down.
Sack the board, please. Sack the board.
Ross, it's been an absolute pleasure. And honestly, I think if the industry starts adopting this, I mean, it could be a total game changer and make or break for a lot of smaller distilleries. It really could.
Well, it's interesting. I mean, it's only 12 quid a chuck. They can be used far more than once. They have work. They haven't tasted. I've got good endorsements from people that know about it. We're on tests in quite a few distilleries, and we will be on far more distilleries across the world very shortly. So we're giving it a wee bit of a push just now, because we've sat on this. It's cost us a fortune in patents. I mean, patenting is unbelievably expensive. We're way into six figures, but you've got to do it. So, if anybody wants, you can find us. You can Google us and find us somewhere. It's interesting. It's
interesting. And the more we get to keep, the better. That's my opinion.
Absolutely, absolutely, and it does work.
Yeah. Simple, easy, and reusable.
Wish you all the best with it, Ross.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Cheers, lads.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
So, what do you think of that, Marty?
What's not? It's £12 a go. If everybody gives it a go, if some of the big hitters try this, I mean,
There's a good question there, but what will the Angels think? Make it harder to get through the gates, somebody said as well.
We're whiskey drinkers. We don't worry about what Angels think. We're not getting there anyway. No, I shouldn't say that at Easter. That's a terrible thing. No, you think of it. If they can say that they can see a 50% over that loss in 4 years, if Irish distillers are losing 40,000 bottles a day, think about that saving that they can make. That is a huge, huge volume of stuff. The best endorsement I seen there was James Dougherty said it's genius. There you go. James knows an awful lot more about whiskey than I ever will, and if he says it's genius, I'll take his word at that.
I've seen that. There's a couple of people that are in the trades, so commented on there. Very good indeed. Yeah. We were amazed by it.
He's a character. He's a good character. He's very fun.
The bits we lost from that were the best bits. But anyway,
yeah, we want to stay on air for a while. But no, it was a great conversation. Really nice guy. What seems to be a super product. When you think of the amount of wastage there is, and people talk about the Angels share as if it's some sort of romantic thing. That's money. You have to pay for that. You know that comes out when you're buying a whiskey that's 20 years old. You're paying for the bit that's disappeared. That's one of the big costs. So
let's see what Captain Carl McDermott has to say about this here. Let's see what he has to say.
Bring him on.
There you go. Waiting patiently in the wings.
There he is. Sorry for keeping you a little bit later than we had anticipated, but we've brought you on finally. Houston, we have a wee problem.
Unmute yourself, Carl. Unmute yourself. You're on mute. You've plugged your headphones in and you're on mute.
Oh, nightmare.
There you go. We can hear you now. Yes.
Technical difficulties. Right. I think the whole premise of that idea is great. I don't know why he locked himself into Scotch though. Scotch bonnet. you think he might just say, I don't know, whiskey bonnet maybe?
Well, when it comes to it, Scotch is still the big hitter. Let's be honest, it is still the big one.
Sure, it is.
But
that's true. That's true. But I think everybody will automatically know it's a Scotch bonnet's a hat, and it's a hat for a barrel, sort of thing. Yeah. But yes, wonderful idea. So this guy's one of these technical gurus who runs one of these app thingamajings, and he hadn't unmuted himself.
Oh, he's one of your guys. Is he one of your technical guys? They all come up. I tried to get in touch with Carl last Saturday, but via WhatsApp. WhatsApp wasn't even working for me. I couldn't figure out. So I ended up just rang him. But Carl, good to have you on, buddy.
Yeah, it's great to be here, and I'm making up for you not going with the Guinness.
You see, right? I see. There's a couple. There's a
couple of comments there.
There's a few comments about where's the Guinness. I made a bit of a boo boo today, right? I had no Guinness. All right. And the off licenses closed at 8 o'clock. Now, a friend of mine came down. We went for a walk and stuff, and we were chatting away. We sat out my front and sat and had a cup of tea, no alcohol involved, etc. And then he went, and I realised it was 8:10, and it was too late to go and get any Guinness, and I had no beer in the house, nothing. But my wee friend just up the few doors up, whose dog I look after, Gunner, if anybody's noticed, I went up, knocked the door, I says, tell me this, you don't happen to have any Guinness in the house? And he went, no, but I can give you a couple of tins of Carlsberg. Okay, it's not the best thing in the world to be drinking, but it's a tin of Carlsberg, we'll clear that up. I don't drink it often, but it's better than twiddling my thumbs. Okay? So, now that's now explained.
Well, listen, James and Moira Doherty have said, we're talking to them, but now that I know he will give them to people to test, I might play harder to get. No. What about Irish Cap? It doesn't quite work, No. Irish Cap doesn't have the same ring that Irish Cap, he could also corner the market and call him the Irish Scoop, the Donegal Duncher. Yeah,
Duncher,
I think he's probably trademarked all those names as well. What's Mark Kerr saying? That's not a bit of a boohoo. That's a tragedy. What's it? The Angels not getting it. What was he saying is a tragedy? Don't know. Always sure. Explain, because we cover that many things, Mark. We sometimes can't remember. There we go.
Good man, James. Now, Carl has come up with a website called the Whiskey Companion. Now, I'll just want to put in a little bit. There's lots of people who watch the show and comment, and they always go, "Whiskey's for drinking, it's not for collecting." But collecting now is a huge thing, and auctions are a huge thing. We had Anthony on a couple of weeks ago, and he was, as you well know, Carl, one of the nicest guys in planet Earth. He's a charmer, a character, etc., etc.
Yeah, he's brilliant.
But what is the Whiskey Companion? What does it do?
Yeah, it's spreadsheets. I know it's spreadsheets. I can see a spreadsheet here when I see one.
It's not quite a spreadsheet. It's more of a table, I want to say. But yeah. So basically, I created this site about 2 years ago now, and initially it was set up just because there was loads of sales going on the Facebook groups and stuff like that, like way back when. And people were always asking questions like, how much is this going for, or how much is this worth, or whatever, etc., etc. And it actually started out initially as I wanted it to be a community-driven website. So people would be able to go to the site, enter in the sales that they made on Facebook, and as time went on, then we'd have a good valuation at the end of the day. So I learned the hard way. People don't really want to end. They don't want to enter their own data. People are like myself, and they're lazy. So I decided to go ahead and start scraping the auctions.
But you could do a barcode scanner on it. You could scan the bottles with a scanner thing like eBay does, couldn't you? You could do that.
Yeah, you could, and that's one of the features that I'm currently working on. So it's not ready yet, but yeah, that'll be the option. But yeah, so what I do is I scrape all of the auctions. There's 10 or 15 auctions now in the UK, Ireland, and Europe, and it kind of started out with just the Irish auction. So it was Irish whiskey auctions and Celtic, and that was about, at the time, I think it was about 10 or 15,000 bottles that I had scraped. And the Irish whiskey market, secondary market, wasn't huge at the time. People were still figuring out what whiskey were good to invest in and buy, and like people were literally looking to buy them to drink. And like I'm not one for just investment. Like I do drink a lot of whiskey as well. So I did put in a collection feature on the site, so people can actually add their collection to the site. It can be valued. They can track their tasting notes. They can do various different things. So it's not just about the valuations.
Is this your full-time job now, Carl? Is it?
I wish. No, it's not. So I still work full-time in software development, and this is just literally just a side project that I do on the evenings and weekends.
It must take up a lot of your time.
It does. Working 9 to half 5 every day, and then having this on top of that is tough. But at the end of the day, it's something that I enjoy, and it really fascinates me, just the prices. So like you can see here, like the one that Justin is showing there, the Middleton Very Rare 2017. There's 2 separate bottlings. So there's the old bottling and the new bottling. And the
price has just shot up dramatically, hasn't it?
Absolutely. So you can see there back in 2018, like it was nearly down at the 150, I think it was 130 even at some auctions. And now it's gone up to over 500 consistently over the last 3 months. So it's just skyrocketed since the pandemic. And
sale!
Yay! But the other one, the new bottling is just crazy. That's gone up to nearly 900 now in most auctions. But there are ones that go down, like the one that you're showing now, the Waterford Rathaden 1.1 that started out. It was one of the first ones that Waterford released, and it was an Irish exclusive. I think it was 2,500 bottles thereabouts, and shot up to 800 on some of the auctions, and then it's gone way back down to 250 is the average now.
Yeah, it's just, so you're probably seeing some anomalies popping up on this, aren't you?
You do. Like the really scary ones are some of the Middleton Very Rares, like the 89 and the 2009. They don't come up very often, but when they do come up, like the 88 came up in
last month's
last month. Yeah, and that went for 30 grand.
Well, to put that in context, last October, I think it was either September or October last year, an entire collection of Middleton, all of the Middletons from 84 all the way through, sold for something like 38,000. So one bottle for 30 grand.
I don't know whether you've noticed this comment, but I have to go to this one. This is so funny. It says, Tobacco Barn Distillery, the Admiral has said, that graph is similar to Marty's Irish whiskey cyber currency that he launched April the 1st. Oh yeah, we made a killing in that, Admiral. We made a killing in that. Yeah, that graph there, it sort of scares you a bit that when you buy something that goes up to 800 and then it drops again off. But unbelievable.
No. Yeah. So the website, just to follow people in, because I've been looking at it all. I've been hanging about around and doing bits and pieces and adding bits and pieces to my collection. You can log in, you sign up. There's an entry level membership. You can go in and check some prices and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have a Patreon account, so it's a paid subscription where you can then add in various features. So what all do you get for your money?
Exactly. So for you can just sign up and it's free for the basic access, as you said. So you can see the price ranges for 3, 6, 12 months, and you can I have predefined collections. So I have the likes of the Bushmill Causeway collection, the Dingle collection, Middleton Very Rare, obviously, and you can just see the range and the average for the last 3, 6, or 12 months, and that's free. You can search all of the auctions that I scrape. That is limited to 3 months old data. So then to get the full data, then it's €4 on the Patreon. And
but you've run through about over 500,000 auction sales at Carl. So there's some whiskey being shifted some places.
Oh, it's crazy, and I didn't realize how
crazy
it was, or how crazy it was. There was a Macallan that went for $1 million.
Justin bought it.
I didn't buy it. Don't be saying stuff like that.
Burglars go to Justin's house. He's got a
Jody Burke has said, "How would you ever put a price on Marty's under table collection? It seems never ending." We go to the prop compartment at Paramount Studios and get the bottles in just beforehand. If you notice, all of Marty's bottles are just 25% different than real, so that they aren't real. All right.
Can I just also put a little caveat in here, because there's a few people have commented to me, "Oh, you must get sent all these bottles and blah 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 blah." Occasionally, I get sent some bottles. I always tell people I've been sent them everything else I've bought. Okay, so just as a thing. So I have a collection over here that's all opened, and then I have some bottles. I have a little collection of stuff that I keep for investment purposes. Now, this week I did the 10 whiskies for an Irish whiskey collection. Someone starting off, and I said that you should really go on and buy this bottle. So this is the Teeling Revival number 5. So it's the cognac and brandy bottle. So if you were going to buy that now,
I have the newer version.
The newer version.
The Revival 5. You can actually still get it in some super values for €120.
Now, This one sold out. So how much would this cost you at an auction? So
average
go on
over
the
the last
Companion.
6 months. Yeah,
See?
average over the 6 months has been €115, with the minimum being €95 and the maximum being €130.
So
So
in terms of presentation and all that kind of stuff, you have to say it looks fabulous, and you can go on to the Whiskey Companion, check out how much it's going to be, and there you go. So exactly. So I was right to bring that in, wasn't I? Tell me, I was right to put that in.
you were very right. You're very right.
Yeah. So I mean, there are lots of people talk about how much Irish whiskey has went up and how it's an investment and you can buy balls. But there's lots of bargains to be had. There's lots of things at reasonable prices. So some people are a little bit scared or intimidated by auctions, and they're maybe not sure how to use them. Now, Anthony, obviously, it's a fairly painless process.
We're getting some really good positive comments in tonight. There's Connor Winder saying Whiskey Companion is class. It is a great resource. You're certainly crunching the numbers for an enthusiast, and it's even I can follow it. I thought to myself, this guy knows his user interface. I mean, last week I did an hour about user interface. Next week I'm testing the user interface for this system we're on tonight. But yours was it's pretty straightforward. A layman could understand it.
Thanks very much. Thanks.
Yeah, I went round it and looked about around it and so on and so forth, and it's a fabulous database of stuff. Because I'm the same. I get asked by people, what would you have to pay for this, or I've been offered this, how much is this, etc., etc. And the fact that I now can say, pass it off and go to the Whiskey Companion and get it accurately.
Well, you know, it means you don't have to get stung. You get a ballpark figure of what you should be looking for and why you should be looking for it. Yeah. You know,
that's exactly it, and that was one of the reasons that I wanted to, keep going with it and to set it up properly. Was I saw people posting, one-time auction prices on, people's posts that would say, how much is this worth? Like, I'll give you an example for the Middleton Very Rare 2020 in the Irish whiskey auction just gone. There was one bottle that went for 900, and someone asked, "Oh, how much is the Middleton Very Rare 2020?" And someone just posted, "Oh, it's €900." And I had to comment, and I was just like, "Well, yeah, it went for €900 once, but there was 32 other ones that went in it as well, and the 32 other ones brought the average way down to 600 or 650." So you don't want people to be priced out with, or you don't want people to get ripped off, or to not know what they have as well.
Now, when you can put up your collection onto the website, and then you get a valuation.
You do indeed, yeah. There's a whiskey collection area, and when you add it to your collection and you're part of the Patreon, you gain access to the collection value section, and it lists all of your collection. It gives you a nice total up on the top right hand corner to say your total collection is X. It'll tell you how much you spent on whiskey as well. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but if you when you're tracking,
do you have a hide from the partner mode? Do you have a hide from the partner mode? Move it to the bottom right hand corner and it disappears off screen very quickly.
I might need to put that in.
What's the 3 buttons you put? Do you remember Microsoft come up with this thing for Windows? You press the 3 buttons, you're into stealth mode, and they thought it would be a nice feature. It'd be a nice feature for people who buy presents for people and stuff. Everybody just used it for porn.
Oh, yeah, the incognito mode.
Will you explain to you the best method for Windows is, so you log on to Amazon and you buy yourself a Mac Mini M1 chip. That's the best method for Windows. Yeah.
Not a Windows man, no.
No,
that's fair.
If you give me a $2,500 Windows machine for free, I wouldn't take it from you.
Well, would you take it and not just give it to me? I'll take
No.
it off, yeah.
No, I would take it. I would take it. Now, I'm going to test you on a couple of things here now, Card, right?
Sure.
See what these are worth, because I might have to sell these, otherwise I'm going to have to sell a kidney. Right. So we'll start with something easy.
Easy. Okay.
This should be easy.
Is Isla Sinclair there handing you the stuff? Who's handing you the stuff?
No,
Marty?
I'm here by myself. So this is the Irishman Founders Reserve. and I haven't actually opened this.
Is that the which cask is it? There's
That's the let me see, the Caribbean cask finish. Yep.
Carl, you think you could afford a soft touch keyboard?
I know, yeah.
They're handed in like sound effects. At least have a soft touch keyboard.
Oh yeah, the last Caribbean cask went for €57. So
that's all right. We can open that then. That's okay.
Yeah,
That's okay.
It's not a
We can open
retirement
that.
one.
It's not a retirement one. Now we have Titanic, 5-year-old.
So that actually surprisingly went fairly high on Irish whiskey auction. There was 2 in the March auction. One went for 185 and one went for 117. And
What have you got half drunk?
Half full. It's worthless. Just worth the drink.
Ah, right. Okay. This one might be good. This might be good. We have Middleton single cask. Let me just check and see which one this is. You think I would know this? Burglars, don't come near my house, please. This is the 1999 cask number 53735.
Is that James Fox's one, is it? Or Irish lifestyle?
Let me see. No. There's only 201 bottles of this. 53735.
May not have come up recently.
Marty probably has the other 200 bottles somewhere, by the way.
Well, you'd actually be surprised because although everything that Middleton touches is now turning to gold, the single casks are actually the ones that haven't really gone crazy.
The value for money.
They really are. They really are. Now, in saying that, the success of Very Rare has really brought the eyes on Middleton. So in the last auction, the Dark Yallock has skyrocketed. Like, people are really looking for the Dark Yallocks. So the Knockraft Wood 37 went for €910, and that was only released a couple of months ago for 310.
Yeah.
So it was a huge 170 odd increase on that.
So what I'm telling you guys is, you see these single casks, I recommend, just as a tip, turn it up yourself. Investments can go up as well as down. This is probably something you might want to start looking at. I checked this out on your site, and this is about €500.
Oh, you found it? Oh,
I did find it on it.
I couldn't.
It's about 500 something euro.
Middleton has 1 D. I always put 2 D's in it, Carl. That's probably what you're doing. I misspell it with 2 D's.
Now,
wishful thinking.
I'm going to pull one up here, and I think I've actually grabbed the wrong bottle. But I know James is watching. What about the Dark Silky?
Oh, the Dark Silky. Yeah, I wrote about this in my. I do an auction spotlight. After
remember, guys, we got a sample of the Dark Silky cask strength from James way back when. So we've actually tasted this. Our group on here have tasted this. How much is this going for a bottle now?
So, Marty, last year in November and October, it went for €130 in 2 different auctions. In the February auction this year, it went for €255.
So it's basically doubled in price in a few months. So yeah. So James,
yeah.
keep up the good work, James.
James, you're doing something right. And there was an interesting video I was watching about whiskey and how it may be a good investment, or how to spot a good investment for whiskey. And there was a couple of different criteria for the whiskey. And the number 1 was that it has to be a good whiskey. It has to be very drinkable, and people have to like the whiskey, because otherwise people won't open it and they won't drink it, and then it won't be scarce, so people won't want to buy it.
well, that's it. I've said this whenever we were talking to Anthony a few weeks ago. I was saying that the entry level investment stuff, the sort of reasonably priced collectible stuff, the Middleton very rares and that kind of stuff, have really shot up. But I think if you start to look at it and start looking at the data, they've shot up because people are sitting at home. A lot of them have furlough money and they haven't been spending anything, so they've started. It's gained a bit of traction. But like that single cask stuff, and some of the stuff that is quite pricey to buy now is very, very reasonable. I'll let you in a little secret. I've sold some bottles over the past little while, and I've traded it for stuff that I think it will be worth a lot more money than I paid for it in the future. Banks aren't giving you any interest rates, so you have to put your money somewhere. So why not spend a bit of time collecting stuff that you actually quite like doing,
Yeah, and I think that's kind of the driving factor in these crazy prices that we're seeing.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit of a buyer beware in the next couple of months if we are going to come out of this lockdown. Don't spend money that you can't live without. So
don't be putting yourself and being serious, guys. Please don't put yourself in debt, thinking you're going to make a fortune, because we seen what happened with people buying houses not that terribly long ago. So you need to just have a little bit of patience. I bought this and opened it. So this is going to be, this is the Mulberry cask Method of Madness. I got this and opened it. I don't know whether this is going to be collectible or not, but I think it probably will. I think it'll probably become one of those niche ones over a bit of a slow burner, but I think it's probably
it probably will. I think you're going to see a few of them anyway in the next auction, whether it be Irish whiskey auction. I think there is one in Celtic. I'm not 100% sure, but I'd have to check my live auction view. But yeah, like I think people now are just buying new releases and sending them directly to auction, because you have the likes of, the very rares that came out recently, 21 and 20. They went straight to auctions and they're making mad money. You have the Redbreast 10 making mad money.
What sort of servers and computing power do you have to run that card? It must take quite a lot to run all that.
Well, funnily enough, I actually bought the cheapest server on like GoDaddy or whatever it was, and I've actually talked to Anthony about this, because he talks about his servers to me, and like my ones are a fraction of his size, and just for whatever reason, like obviously I'm not getting as much traffic as he is, but it performs really well, and I've taken it down a few times, so I automate all of the scraping, and so I have like bots that do it for me, and they send the data to the server, and sometimes
we've lost Marty. Can you find me some disused missing Bitcoin when you're out there doing it?
You've got what doing what for you?
I've got bots. Like I've written bots to go off to the auction sites and to tell me what data is on there, and then send it to
like C3PO and R2D2 then.
Exactly. Yeah. I have C3PO
okay.
off there. But yeah, I've taken it down a few times by just hitting it too much with the bot. But so just in response to your Mulberry cask there, so there's one on Celtic, but it's the influencer set. It's the charity bottle, so that usually goes for more anyway. But it's up at €280. Like, it's still very good money. And then the Redbreast 10-year-old. So that's on Scotch Whisky Auctions, Celtic, and Whisky Auctioneer at the moment, and it's doing pretty decent money. So it's 160 is the high, and 100 is the low.
I've opened that one as well.
Yeah, I've opened one myself, and I have one to keep. But
Trevor Watson in Fermanagh is asking you, Cart, how much is that wild turkey you have behind you there?
Well, I thought you were going to ask me what my my pride and joy was of a whiskey. And
we're not finished with you yet, boy. We're not finished with you just yet.
So this whiskey was given to me by my auntie, and she used to be a flight attendant back in the 80s and 90s, and my granddad used to only drink wild turkey, and I was down in her house there, whatever it was, 2 years ago now, because of the pandemic, and I was starting to get into whiskey properly, and she was like, "Oh, I have whiskey in the cabinet there. Go have a look at what you want, or I'll see what I can dig out." So she brought this out, and it's what was it? An '89 Wild Turkey 101. So it has an age statement on it, and let's see if I can get it there. So I just love the label that's on it. I think it's really, really cool. And I actually got in touch with Eddie Russell, who is the master distiller there, to just see if I can figure out any. Like, I got in touch with him on Instagram, and he said it's an '89, and it would have a lot of older whiskey, because that was around the time when American whiskey, the American whiskey industry was going downhill, because people were more interested in the neutral and clear spirits. So they had to get rid of their old stock. So, it's a shame that it's so everything is so popular nowadays, because we're not getting the old stock for cheap.
Yeah. Well, I'll just give you a wee tip. Wild Turkey has an Irish connection. The Rippey family that established it came from County Tyrone. So, it's all part of the influx of. Well, it's actually the sort of Scots-Irish influence that went over the Rippey family, and that's where they came from. So there you go.
Cool. Yeah, I didn't realise that.
Yeah, the website is a fantastic resource. Nice database, dead easy to use. Although, of course, I made a balls of it, obviously, because whenever I tried to sign up, I signed it. I don't know. That's my fault. Not yours.
I still don't know what you did.
I don't know what I did.
No, don't worry. Listen,
don't you be so dismissive.
Listen, Johan Strand is saying 1 hour ahead over here off the bed. Thanks for tonight. Yes. James Moore Doherty saying, could you do data feeds to specific brand pages? That's a good idea, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
That is a good idea. That would be quite easy to do. Aggregate them into one. Trevor Watson saying, thank you for the comprehensive answer there. We could do a show just about wild turkey alone. Although I'd like a nice turkey burger with some mayo on it as well to go with it.
No, the website is dead easy to use. Even though I had a hiccup, I still no idea what I'd done. But it's nice. No, I'm all sorted. It didn't take too long to get it sorted. But you upload your collection, and you get a graph to tell you get basically what it's valued at. They're easy to use, and I know there's loads of people don't want to collect whiskey. They think drink whiskey, it's the best way to do it. But honestly, it's a fascinating thing to do, because it's nice if you pick a brand, or the likes of those. I think they're hugely undervalued. If you think to yourself, I have a spare £100 lying about, buy one of these and have it sitting on your shelf. Yeah. Rather than having £100 or €100 sitting in a bank making you absolutely zero, have that. It's decorative. It's beautiful. Should you decide to drink it, what is it really? It's £100. And who knows, in 2-3 years' time, it might be worth triple what you paid for it. So, and I wouldn't doubt that this stuff will be worth an awful lot more in a few years' time.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. And
Johan Strand says turkey burger. I suggested food. He says screw going to bed, off to the kitchen.
Yeah.
Very good, Johan. Kit Charles is saying Bernard Massey is turning in his grave. Is he dead? I think he is dead. Bernard Massey.
He's dead. He's dead about 20 years, Justin.
All right. He's the big turkey guy. There you go. I do like turkey. Actually, isn't Kentucky, where they run the Derby, aren't they famous for some turkey toasted sandwich that you've promised me? If are you not taking me to America with you, Marty? You're shaking your head. You're not taking me to America with you.
I'll tell you a true story. This is gospel truth, right? My beloved Ballymena, where I went from, as a twin city. You know the way they done all that town twin and stuff years ago. It's twinned with Gibraltar for reasons. Gibraltar people came over during the Second World War. La Roche in France, because Michelin plant and so on and so forth. And it's twinned with Moorhead in Kentucky. Now, they tried to spin. This is true. People will tell you it's not, but I swear this is true. They tried to say that it was because of the Ulster Scots who went across to Kentucky years ago and settled there and all of that. Actually, the mayor at the time was SDLP Lord Mayor BPJ McAvoy. And the reason that they ended up twin with them is because it's about an hour's drive from the Kentucky Derby. so this is true. So surprisingly, as a measure of friendship, PJ went twice to go see the Kentucky Derby. Yeah.
Oh boy.
Now, that's a nice whiskey. That is well worth the money. Carl, it's been a pleasure talking to you.
Oh, absolute pleasure being here. Thank you very much for having me on.
No problem at all. And guys, anybody watching, go and have a look at the site, thewhiskeycompanion.com. Have a look, give it a look over. And if you do decide to start collecting whiskey, and I do advise it, it's a very worthwhile and rewarding thing to do, and you might just make a bit of money at it. Yeah.
There you go. Thank you very much, Carl. Do catch up with us on YouTube, LinkedIn Live, Instagram. If you want to support us, it's buymeacoffee.com/Irish whiskey without the review. Although it is the review, it's just a shorter name. And it works a bit like Carl's Patreon. You just pay a little bit. But if you want to pay a big bit, like 40 quid for the year, you'll be going on the trip because we're hoping to get out of lockdown soon, Marty, aren't we? We're hoping.
Please.
Fingers crossed, we're getting out of lockdown, and that's it. Patrick Multy saying a great show. Julie Mason, Sean O'Neill saying it's a great show. Trevor Watson, Sean O'Neill saying your site's great.
Thanks very much.
Sean, had you heard about it beforehand? I think Sean had heard about it before, and he's been in the show before. Thanks very much, guys. Catch you again, and don't forget, Marty and me have the podcast out Wednesday again this week. Yep.